Welcome to Reimagining Community, Eastside Voices for Change. I'm your host, Angelica, Healing Justice Organizer, and I'm here with James Randolph. Hi, James.
Hey, how's it going, Angelica?
It's going great. Today, we're going to talk about Black liberation and what that looks like for us as community leaders, as folks who have ties in the community, and as Black leaders ourselves. And I'm here with James to talk about that, who's on our Juneteenth planning team. So thank you for being here.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I was really surprised to get the invite.
Invited.
So I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with the community and speak with the people who listen to this podcast.
Absolutely.
I'm definitely looking forward to the connections that we can have with community and the ability to speak through this show to reach more people. So thank you.
Heck yeah. Yeah. So I just want to ask, talking about liberation in the community, what do you feel like that means to you as a community leader?
As a community leader, it's something that I connect to as an elected official. Mm-hmm. One thing to know is the thing that actually engaged me in becoming a political leader was the murder of George Floyd, COVID, the first, time that Trump was in office, like spending time with my children and getting some of the questions that I got that engaged me to go, what can I actually do to make change? And once you start to ask these questions, and try and figure out how to change society, you're led to, well, I guess I can make changes from a political standpoint, especially with the discussions at the time leaning towards the idea that, policing is not a national issue, but a local thing. And that I embraced that and said, okay, what can I do in my hometown, in my locality where I live to actually make change?
Absolutely.
And as part of that, I think I actually found Eastside for All, which is also committed to hyper-local community engagement and developing community.
Absolutely. And I feel like the George Floyd murder really kicked in gear for a lot of people, their liberation story. It woke a lot of us up because it brought forward a lot of education of experiences that we've all kind of experienced, but never really had the platform or the information to be able to make sense of it all. But then after George Floyd, everything came out, and it was like an uprising of information, activism, people validating our experiences. And I saw a lot of our community come from the shadows and liberate themselves and be like, yeah, this is something that I've experienced my entire life, but nobody's ever uplifted this as a real issue. And so I think George Floyd was a huge moment for a lot of us because even though that was absolutely tragic, heartbreaking, gut-wrenching, and it's still very sad to this day, it brought a lot of us together in that fight for liberation. And I feel like that was a huge shift that we all experienced together.
Indeed. One of the things, let me see if I can find something to share with you real quick.
For sure.
Because as I guess a person of color, a Black man from the diaspora, I find a lot of expression in music. And one of the things that built me up in that time was George Floyd wasn't the start. It was an extension and basically an exclamation point in time.
It really was.
And I didn't want that exclamation point in time to go unnoticed. So like you said, it invigorated a lot of us. But one of the things that I took from actually that moment was one of the things I used to listen to, and I'll probably date myself with this, was Black Sheep. And they had this song called Black with Envy. Envy being the letters N and V, standing for no vision. And you kind of brought up the question of what is liberation? And I think they talk about that throughout the song over and over. And it's, I have to recite the lyrics.
Yeah, do it.
Not to worry, to harm you It's not an intention of my creed, but to stop your greed and give me what I need, opportunity for a life of me and generations to come with tranquility. And I find that like that grounded me during that time.
It actually really just grounded me right now. I was like, tranquility.
It's a song of action. It's intense. And I still listen to it if I ever need like a pep talk.
Yeah, for sure. And like kind of what I'm hearing from that is that liberation is being able to be authentic in yourself without being harmed or punished for it, which it's crazy that our most natural way to exist right now is causing harm, or we are being punished for being that way, for being our natural, authentic self. And so I think for me, liberation would look like being able to be myself, and that does bring peace and balance to the world. But instead, right now, what we have is us expressing ourselves, being ourselves, and the system telling us that that's not okay, and that's not how we should operate as a community. And so in that way, I feel like we've been historically denied of our liberation and our authentic selves. Yet we still keep fighting for it on the other end. You know, we still keep pushing and we're like, this is who I am, whether you want to see it or not. And I think that is revolutionary and powerful. But there is a history of us being denied of our liberation.
Exactly.
Have you noticed that as well?
I have as well. But if you think about where we are at this point in history, that extends beyond just us as people of color. It's definitely impactful and most visible right now for people of color, just given what's happening with I won't call it administration, it's gone to regime at this point.
Totally.
We have people that are being deported without due process.
Literally.
And these are the things that we've heard about and that we're actually seeing in our communities.
In our real life.
On a day-to-day basis. The question is, if these are the things that we're seeing, what's happening behind the scenes that we don't quite see? And the thing that we're missing overall is not necessarily the high level piece. It's the lower level. What opportunities are we dismissing for everyone? Because if we start to think about intersectionality, people of color, our immigrant communities, our LGBTQ, our queer communities, and just the disabled communities, being able to celebrate pride in those communities and who you are is dangerous right now.
It really is.
Just looking at the higher level surface at some of the code words that are being used, like we're getting rid of DEI, we're defunding DEI, means that we're removing opportunities for those people and anything that creates opportunity. And we're doing a lot of othering. So it's not a peaceful time. And there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of concern. So
absolutely. I feel like the community does feel a little bit lost right now, kind of like, who can we trust? Who can't we trust? And you're right. I feel like this is a good time to find out, to literally find out who can we lean on and who do we need to, who can we trust in this fight?
Exactly.
I totally agree. And speaking about that, how do you feel like your involvement with the Juneteenth team has contributed to your vision of freedom for the community?
I was engaged with the Juneteenth community before I became an elected official.
Nice.
So I felt the largest embrace from that by actually speaking to people who were part of Eastside for All. It helped garner my vision. It helped me appropriate and bolster myself. I got a better visual for who I was, especially being a minority in a community. So I took that away from my experience with the Juneteenth team and learned a lot more about historical relevance in our communities and how we join together to celebrate and experience joy as a group and how we bring people to that celebration and saw that as something that I want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like a lot of the times working in the community, we commune around crisis and like responding to crisis. And although we need each other in those times, I feel like we also need to be meeting around joy and meeting in places that we can celebrate ourselves, because otherwise we associate each other with those crises. And like, we're like, oh, I only see Angelica when I'm really needing some help, and never seeing me when we're actually like celebrating ourselves. So I feel like Juneteenth is a really good opportunity for that, for us to all come together, dance, have music, eat food, break bread together. And it's been really fun being a part of the team with you. You have a great spirit. And yeah, so our Juneteenth celebration will be June 14th, 12 to 4 p.m. at Juanita High School. Come through.
Yeah, it's going to be a really great time. I know we're supposed to have like this drum group, Kinsenko, open us up. So people want to get there by noon. We're going to have food trucks that'll be barbecue. I think we're trying to
some
get
vegan food.
Vegan food. Yeah, it's going to be delicious food, fantastic tables where people talk about what they're doing in the community. So definitely want to be there for that. We're going to even have some breakout rooms. That's something new for us this year. So we realize that there are lots of people who want to celebrate. There are a lot of people who want to educate and encourage, and we're going to have opportunities for all of that. It's been getting better and every year.
Yep.
So I appreciate that being a start for me in my political place, but also love that it's continuing to grow, and it's something that we can continue to give to the East Side. We have a lot of political figures that show up in there as well.
Yeah,
so
real.
if you're looking to meet those people that you're wondering whether or not you can get engaged with city government and get some answers, hey, that's a good time to do it. If they're in the place, they ought to have answers.
Come through June 14th. So what actions or practices do you think people in the community can take part in order to contribute to their own liberation or collective liberation?
That's kind of a tough one.
I know. It's a toughie.
There is a lot that people can do for their own self-liberation. Number one, I will confess that is hard.
It's a really hard work.
A difficult
Been on
journey.
the journey for a while.
But I'll lean on the African proverb: if you want to go far, do it alone. Or if you want to go fast, do it alone. If you want to go far, you need a group. There are things that people can do personally to improve their financial and family means by doing it alone. But I really do think if you want to make lasting change, you kind of have to join a group.
Totally. I totally agree.
What are we actually looking to change and make those changes at a higher level? Get a collective. I personally joined elected office because I wanted to make change, and I've seen the small changes that I've been able to make, but some on a larger scale, we're talking about affordable housing. How can we do those kinds of things? And what's important for me is continuing to connect to the community, because it really comes from the community. What we're going to do, the things that I hear actually influence my direction and what I say to some of my colleagues on council. So it's about being that loud voice.
Absolutely.
And I know you're like, hey, how can I make changes that will be impactful? How can I liberate myself? I really do believe that is the way. Is to find a group, consolidate on things that you want to change, and push for those changes.
Yeah, I totally agree, because what you said about if you want to move fast, do it alone. But if you actually want to make change, then it needs to be together. I totally agree with that. And I think that a lot of people do want community and connection. People just don't know how sometimes, and they feel so disconnected from themselves that when they get to these groups, they don't know how to commune. They don't know how to communicate themselves to other people. And so I feel like the piece that you talked about was so real. And then on top of that, that individual liberation will help you connect better in those spaces, because you yourself will know exactly what values you stand on. You know exactly what liberation feels like to you, so that when you're in community looking for those communities that feel like liberation, you know what that feels like already, because you yourself have it within you. So I feel like change starts within, because then you're able to recognize it externally. Otherwise, you confuse liberation with other things, And so I totally agree with you. And I think real change is done in community. And so that's why y'all should connect with us at Eastside for All. We're always here to connect with you guys in the community, and we're here to support you in your journey to liberation too.
Indeed, there's a ton of things that need to be done to liberate our community. And I look at Eastside for All as a very important connection point to all of those things.
Yeah, totally.
And there are tons of people who can help you if you want to get into elected office. I'll be here for that. I know a bunch of groups that Sage leaders that are willing to help with that. And there are tons of nonprofits like Leadership Eastside that are looking for people and how to put people in alignment with getting elected to represent underrepresented communities.
Representation matters.
It's not just about being in elected office. It's about being connected, hearing from that community, and being able to voice and liberate those voices in the community. The liberation is about you and your story, and make it that.
Absolutely. Connections matter. We love that. Well, thank you, James, for joining us, sharing your wisdom and knowledge with the community. I really appreciate you. And yeah, catch us at Juneteenth.